There's this feeling that sits in my chest, like something decomposing, not in a poetic way, in the way rot creeps into silence. I don't know when it started, but it's been there long enough to start feeling like a part of me. This sense that I'm not supposed to be here. Not just here in this city, or in this life, but in this time, in this whole damn world. Like I'm a ghost who forgot to die, or someone who missed their exit on some cosmic freeway and got dropped off at the wrong stop in the wrong century. I watch people. I see them laugh over things I don't understand. They talk about trends and memes and apps and shows and politics like it all means something, like there's a pulse there tapped into. And I try. I really try. I scroll through feeds. I click the links. I mimic the expressions. I nod when I'm supposed to. I fake laughter when the timing demands it. But underneath, I feel like a stranger, mimicking a language I never learned to speak fluently. Every cultural reference is like static in my brain. Every conversation feels like trying to walk across an invisible floor I can't feel under my feet. The irony is, I'm surrounded by more content, more people, more noise than any generation before mine. And yet it all passes through me like smoke. Nothing sticks. Nothing feels real. I see people losing themselves in TikToks, podcasts, fast fashion, AI girlfriend apps, and whatever version of digital dopamine is in right now. I see people obsessed with optimizing themselves, grinding for something that looks like meaning, but I just feel hollow, like I'm watching a movie I've already seen 100 times and hated every time, but I can't leave the theater. I just sit there, numb and nauseous. People say we're more connected than ever, but I've never felt more isolated. Social media is a stage, and I'm not even in the audience. I'm backstage, looking through a crack in the curtain, wondering why I'm not part of the performance. I don't know the lines. I don't even want the part. I walk down the street and see nothing but dead eyes locked into screens, looking for validation, swiping for meaning. Every day, the world feels less like a place to live and more like a simulation that's running out of processing power. The buildings are sleek and empty. The people are filtered and tired. The conversations are algorithmic. Everyone seems to be running somewhere, fast, breathless. But when you ask them where they're going, they look at you like you're the insane one for asking. There's a part of me that whispers, you're not supposed to be here, like I was born at the wrong time. Maybe I should have been born centuries ago. Maybe I shouldn't have been born at all. The world I craved, the one with quiet nights, honest conversation, slowness, mystery, purpose, it doesn't exist anymore. If it ever did, all that's left is noise and performance and the unbearable lightness of being forgotten in a sea of followers and likes. I don't care about influencers. I don't care about fashion cycles that last 2 weeks. I don't care about brand deals or sponsored authenticity or whatever false god is trending this week. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to build a personal brand. I don't want to pretend this world isn't falling apart. I don't want to smile and pretend the small talk matters. I don't want to pretend that this life isn't devouring me from the inside out. What haunts me most is the feeling that I'm the only one who feels like this. I know it's not true, not really, but isolation has this way of convincing you that your pain is exclusive, that you're the only defect in an otherwise functioning machine, that your inability to connect means you're the problem, not the system. I try to tell myself that maybe others feel this too, but if they do, they're all better at hiding it. Sometimes I wonder if anyone else looks at the skyline at night and doesn't feel awe but sorrow, not because it's ugly, but because it's empty. So many lights, so much ambition, but no warmth, just cold, mechanical success stacked into rectangles. It's like staring into the chest of a robot pretending to be a heart. And what do? I retreat. I fade into digital shadows. I ghost people who try to pull me back into the noise. I pretend to care about things for the sake of appearing sane, but inside, I'm unraveling. Inside, I'm grieving a version of reality that doesn't exist. I feel like an old soul in a fluorescent lit convenience store, surrounded by sugar and plastic and music, wondering why everything tastes like nothing and feels like less. I'm haunted by how easily people accept all this, how willingly they give themselves over to the spectacle, how proudly they wear their masks and smile as the void inside them gets deeper. I want to shake them and scream, "Don't you see? Don't you feel it too?" But I don't. I just smile back, because nobody wants to hear from the ghost in the room. They want to dance, they want to laugh, they want the illusion, and I want nothing. Not in the philosophical sense, not in some enlightened way. I want nothing because I believe there is nothing. No meaning, no direction, no place for someone like me in this optimized, digitized, sanitized machine we call modern life. I want silence that isn't broken by notifications. I want conversations that aren't transcribed into character limits. I want to feel the world, not just watch it scroll past me. But every time I reach for that, I find myself grasping at air. Every time I think I've found someone who feels it too, they slip back into the performance, back into the feed, back into the algorithms. And so I shrink. I become smaller. I become invisible. I become invisible, and no one notices. I sit in rooms full of people, and I speak less and less, until my presence feels more like a shadow than a person, a background fixture, a chair that doesn't creak anymore. And in some twisted way, it's a relief, because pretending to belong was exhausting. At least now I can just disappear slowly, without having to keep up the illusion. The truth is, I stopped reaching out. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped trying to bridge the gap between my inner world and whatever this culture is, because the bridge always collapses. It always breaks halfway, and I'm left standing there, alone again, in the silence after a dropped call or the stillness after a text left unread, and no one ever follows up, because I'm not trending, I'm not funny, I don't say the right things at the right tempo, I'm not content, I'm not marketable sadness, I'm the kind of sadness that ruins the mood, the kind of silence people unfollow. So I turn inward. I build a house out of numbness, each room lined with thoughts I don't say out loud anymore. Thoughts like, if this is what life is, why do we fight so hard to live it? If I have to keep pretending forever, what's the point of waking up at all? If I vanished tomorrow, how long would it take for anyone to really notice? And I know people hate when you say things like that. I know it makes them uncomfortable, because it's not inspirational. It's not productive. It's not something they can screenshot and post with an emoji. It's just despair, raw and rotting, not aesthetic, not digestible, but it's the only honest thing I have left. I've watched people I care about get swallowed by this world. Some became content creators, others became career machines, some drowned in substances, some tried therapy and crystals and journaling and yoga retreats, and still came back, looking like something inside them had died. Because the problem isn't inside us, it's out there, in the shape of the world we've built, in the endless appetite of capitalism, in the pressure to turn every private moment into a performance, in the way we were promised connection and given an endless stream of curated loneliness. And the more I see of it, the more I want out. Not just from social media, not just from my city, but from this timeline, this reality, this exhausting, performative farce. I used to hope things would change, that maybe the world would slow down, that maybe people would remember how to be human. But hope is dangerous. It creates expectations, and when those expectations are crushed again and again, something inside you breaks in a way that can't be glued back together. Now I don't hope. I drift. I watch. I exist more than I live. There are days I wake up and stare at the ceiling for hours, not crying, not screaming, just blank, just breathing, because my body hasn't figured out how to stop yet. Food tastes like nothing. Music makes me feel like a tourist in someone else's joy. Movies bore me. Conversations feel rehearsed. Even nostalgia has started to rot. I go back to old shows, old songs, old games, but they don't feel like they used to. Nothing does. The past has been sterilized. The present is unbearable. The future, don't even ask. There are people who will read this and say I'm being dramatic, that I'm choosing to be miserable, that everyone feels alienated, and I should just focus on the positive, or get out more, or touch grass. But I have touched grass. I've screamed into forests. I've deleted my apps. I've walked barefoot on the beach and listened to bird song and stared into the stars and still felt like a malfunctioning piece of equipment dropped into a world not designed for someone like me. This isn't a phase. It's not a mood. It's not a quirky aesthetic. It's a quiet, gnawing truth that lives in my bones. I do not belong here. Not in this age, not in this system, not in this century of dopamine and deadlines. Sometimes I wonder if I was meant to be someone else, born somewhere else, in some other time. But that kind of thinking is a trap, because you start building imaginary lives where you might have been happy, and all that does is sharpen the pain of knowing you're not. So I stopped imagining better lives. I stopped fantasizing about love or connection or belonging. I stopped writing the letter to the person who might understand, because that person doesn't exist. They're either pretending like everyone else, or they've already gone silent, like me. I've thought about death not in a dramatic, attention-seeking way, in a cold, clinical way, like someone thinking about a shutdown of a machine that keeps running but no longer serves any function. There's no drama in it, no poetry, just the quiet truth that maybe life isn't for everyone. Maybe not every heart was built for this world. Maybe not every soul is compatible with this era of distraction and performance and hollow ambition. And if that's true, if some of us are just evolutionary dead ends, born with too much sensitivity and too little desire for spectacle, are we supposed to do just endure, just keep waking up out of guilt or habit or fear? Because that's what this is now. Endurance. A long hallway of fluorescent lights with no doors and no windows. Just walking, breathing, waiting. I'm not saying I'll end it. I'm just saying I don't know how much longer I can keep pretending this is living. Some nights I sit on the floor of my apartment, lights off, phone face down, and I just listen to the refrigerator hum. That's it. That's my company. That's my reality. A mechanical noise in a dark room. And I think this is what it's come to. This is the shape of my life. A placeholder, a ghost, an uninvited guest in a future I never asked to be part of. People say things get better, but what if they don't? What if the truth is that for some of us, they never do? What if for some of us, the world just never fits? What if all the talk about healing and growth and change is just a way to keep the machine running, to keep the broken from walking off the edge? Because here's my truth. I'm tired of pretending this is enough. I'm tired of acting like I care about the noise. I'm tired of forcing myself to adapt to a world that never once considered adapting to me. And no, this doesn't end with some redemption arc. There's no sudden clarity, no hopeful twist, no cinematic shot of me finding my people and laughing in a field. This isn't a movie. This is a long grey hallway that ends in silence, and I'll keep walking it because I don't know what else to do. But don't mistake that for strength. It's not courage, it's inertia, it's momentum, it's a body moving forward only because it hasn't stopped yet. Maybe one day it will. Maybe one day the hum of the refrigerator will be the last sound I ever hear. And maybe that would be mercy. Not because I want to die, but because I've never really been alive here.